Good afternoon, everybody. I see everybody joining the meeting. We'll get started here in just a few minutes after we get everybody all settled. And we'll be talking about McSAM and how to create winning entries. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Parrish with Team PMP. I am the McSAM Judging Administrator and show producer. I'm thrilled to be here with you today to share with you some insights on how to create winning entries for McSAM. We hope that you will get a lot of good information and we'll answer a lot of your questions that you may have about prepping your entries and creating content for the judges. So we will be recording this in case for some reason you want to come back and watch it later, or you want to share it with someone else in your office, but we will be going over some details and content for you. So first thing I would like to do is just go over the important dates for McSAM. So just notes, May 10th is your entry deadline. That is the due date. So that is D-Day. The materials are due that day at midnight. So you will definitely want to put that as a big note on your calendar. There will not be an extension, so you'll want to have all of your materials in no later than that date. Now, that doesn't mean you can't submit it prior to that date. And I always say that to everyone. You know, the sooner that you turn your homework in, the better chance that we'll be able to review it and tell you if there's anything wrong, missing, or if we're in need of any other additional materials. So, but 10th is the entry deadline. I did want to let you know that on June the 10th, we will announce the finalists. That's when we will let everyone know if they were finalists in the category. And we'll be making sure that everybody is aware to get ready to attend the event on July the 24th at the Westin Galleria. Just a little memory point, entry fees are $125 for our marketing categories, $500 for our People's Choice Awards, and for our sales achievement categories, those are $75 per entry. And again, this is open to members of the Dallas Builders Association. Just to note, the McSAM Awards is specifically a sales, marketing, and design event for production home builders and developers. If you are a custom builder or a modeler, those entries will be specifically handled in the ARC Awards, and those will be coming up in the fall. So that is separate, just to make sure that we keep the knowledge which awards program recognizes which brands. So if you haven't submitted to McSAM previously, I just wanted to show you the steps to enter. First off, McSAMAwards.com is our website. And this is the path to entry. And I will tell you that this is, it's very easy. It's very streamlined. First thing you're gonna wanna do is go through your categories and your requirements and make a list of those categories that you are going to be submitting. Double check the requirements of what you need for each one of your entries. Once you have that list, what you're gonna wanna do as soon as you are able to is go into the online portal and submit your entries through the portal and make your payment of your entry fees. What that will do is it will unlock and release your entry numbers that you will receive with a confirmation and the instructions on how to deliver your materials no later than May 10th. Now, for every entry, there is either a team project form, or for the sales and marketing or professional categories, there's a specific form for those categories that needs to be completed. There is images required for all categories. For interiors and architecture, there are floor plans required. And in the case of the professional achievement categories, this year, in lieu of our interviews in person, we'll be looking for those video statements. And I'll talk about those more later. But I did want to give you, those are the requirements for each one of the categories. The image resolutions are noted on the website, also on your confirmation email, and that is 1800 by 1200 pixels with a minimum DPI of 300. Now, the reason I've mentioned this is you want to make sure, especially for your professional achievement category entries for your candidates, that those photos that you're submitting on their behalf are a good high resolution. If they're too small, if they're their LinkedIn photo, they're going to look terrible on the screen. They're going to look terrible in our winners book. So make sure you ask those candidates for a really nice headshot. Again, when you're putting all your materials together, you're going to send those to us via FTP or Dropbox or Hightail, whichever is your favorite, no later than May the 10th. Now, once you submit into the entry portal, you're going to receive an entry confirmation that looks something like this. And it's going to say, thank you. If you choose to pay by check, you'll note that the payment will go directly to the DBA, to Misty. If you pay by credit card, your credit card will automatically be charged and you'll receive a statement or a receipt for your charges. This will unlock, as you can see, your entry numbers and your list. You can submit all of your entries in one group. So you'll have one long list of entries, or you can submit a single entry at a time as you wish. As you can see, this gives you all the details and allows you to download the forms for each one of the categories. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to email me or call me. I'm here to help, and I'm here to answer any questions as you're going along and preparing your entries. So my contact information is on the website and the confirmation email. And again, it'll be here if you need it as well later on. Now today, what we're going to go over, that's just a brief overview of how to submit. What we're going to talk about today are some of the new things that are happening for McSAM 2021. We have some new categories and requirements. We're going to be doing our judging virtually. And so that's going to look a little differently for the judges. And so the reason I mentioned that to you is so that you anticipate what the judges will be seeing and how they see it when you're prepping your materials. I'm going to talk to you about planning ahead, making sure you have a checklist, getting the right photography and getting it soon, what to look for and how to talk about marketing statements, and then some common mistakes that people have tripped up and just maybe could have done a better job in their preparation. So the first thing I wanted to mention is our professional achievement categories. So as you can see, our first 15 categories in McSAM are those candidates, those people who make it all happen for us. On the sales front, the online sales counselors, the marketing and sales leaders, our project managers, designers, warranty, purchasing managers, and lifestyle directors. Now, I just want to let you know that this year is also new, that you can resubmit if you have previously won the year before. You can resubmit, which is different from previous years at McSAM. If you won the category last year, you can resubmit this year because it's an of the year category. So you'll be judged based on the 12 months of 2020, January 1st through December 31st. Remember, the average sales price is the sales price of the community, the highest and lowest sales price divided by 2. So make sure you submit within the right category for your candidate. Now, the requirements for these categories are a little different this year. Normally, we would be doing these as interviews with the judges, a 15-minute interview. That won't be available to us because of the fact that we will be doing this virtually. So what we have done is we are offering the opportunity for a candidate to submit their video, answering the 3 questions. Share with us your biggest challenge, your biggest success, and what you're most proud of. Now, as you can see the video playing, this is someone who's just done it as a Zoom or recorded it on their phone, and it just needs to be a simple, easy, I would say no more than 5-minute video. I would suggest actually 2 minutes is probably best. Imagine that the judges are going to be reading the statements and the narratives, and then they're going to be watching these videos. So making it concise, getting your message across is going to be very important. Again, remember, you want to make sure that those images submitted for the candidate are of high quality so that we can give them the glory and the prestige that they are so very much due. Our McSAM People's Choice Awards categories are back, and we're very excited about them. Just a note, if you're going to be submitting for People's Choice, the deadline is May the 10th. We do need to know if you are going to be submitting. So if you know you are, please submit sooner than later so that we know that you're going to be coming in. There is a response rate of 5 entries for each category for the category to be viable. This is a little different path. When you complete and return your entry application and fees, you're then going to be gathering your email list, contact list of your home buyers for the stated period. That would be I believe it's the last 18 months. We will then contact you to obtain that list, and then we will email out to your buyers a pre-survey notification, and then the survey will deploy on June the 7th. It'll run for those 2 weeks, and then we will get the results from those captures of the survey. They're going to ask questions such as, would you recommend? How did you like the process? And other details that the judges will then be reviewing as well. New for 2021 are what we call our virtual categories. These are new: best virtual sales process and best virtual special event and promotion. As you can see, you can submit your entries telling your story of what you did and how you did it. You'll fill out the team information form with information about how it ran, how you did it, what it covered, and what the process was. You can submit images of anything that would represent the entry, up to 8 images. And then you can also submit a video file. So if you want to put together a video that talks about what you did or how you presented that, these categories are very interesting this year because they're all unique. Every entry is a little unique. So the images represent it, and they also will be used in the show. The video file is actually where you can tell the story of what you did and how you did it. So take your time here. We just had this merge as we came out of the fall and into the nationals. We had fantastic entries, and the judges were very interested to see how people adapted this. This is a really good example of one of the entries that came in recently. And what they talked about in this entry for Lancy Homes, they talked about how they were setting up their virtual appointments on their phones, iPads, and desktops, how they were guiding the candidates or the home buyer clients through the portal of getting pre-qualified, setting appointments and doing Zoom calls, and then talking about how they ended up with impressive numbers. As you can see, these are literally the 4 images that they submitted for their entry, and then they told their story. But as you can see, in that 4th image on the bottom right, they actually gave us the numbers. They gave the judges the information of how successful they were and what they were trying to achieve. So I highly recommend this for anything that you can put together for your submittals, giving the judges information that qualifies how successful you were or what you were trying to do and how well the approach worked is very helpful. This year for the McSAM Builder of the Year, again, we will not be able to do an interview. We will be asking those same questions of our builders. So if you could submit a video package answering the questions of the biggest challenge, your biggest success, and what you're most proud of, as well as completing the Builder of the Year form that asks the 5 mandatory questions, that will really help the judges in putting together the process and learning more about what happened, how you address the challenges of the year, and putting forth a wonderful story. That'll be the same exact process we'll be using for our Developer of the Year as well. If you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A. I'm happy to answer anything as we're going along. I'm kind of going quickly, so I just wanted to let you know that that is open to you as well. Sorry, my Q&A is open and I am trying to get it to go away. All right, so here's some tips and tricks as you're putting your entries together. All right, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is photography. Get the best photography that you can, but don't worry. Photography does not win awards. All it does is help the judges to be able to see and to experience something that they can't do in person. So tell the story as best you can, and most of us all have been using this photography on our websites and in our marketing for the past year to encourage clients to come visit. So we should have some good materials available to us. For the interiors and the architectural photography, you're definitely going to want to focus on the strengths of the plan and showcase the elements that you think are the elements that the judges should be aware of. If you have something that you don't want to show, make sure curate that entry. You have the ability to show anywhere between 4, 6, and 8 images. Choose those images wisely and make sure that they showcase the plan to its best light. One thing that we always like to say is don't shoot yourself in the foot. So remember to look and see what the required number of photos are. Remember to have that floor plan. The floor plan is very important for product design and interior design. It helps the judge to be able to understand the photography and where they are in the plan. So make sure that that floor plan is there, and make sure that you complete that marketing statement and explain what you're looking at. Also, for a product design category, big mistake, and this happens all the time, don't forget the front exterior photography. They really want to see what the front of the house looks like. And those floor plans, again, are very important. Check the photos. As you can see in that bottom photo there, I don't know if you see those towels, but boy, that really disrupted the judges in that entry, because they were like, wow, did they just not take a peek at what they were sharing with us? For marketing statements, here's my big tips. You know, the judges are all your colleagues and peers from around the country. They're coming from outside of Texas. They have no, they're arm's length. They do not have any, they don't work for any builders who will have entries. They're builders, advertising agencies, interior merchandisers, VPs of sales and marketing, and they cross over all the disciplines of sales, marketing, and design. They're just like you. They have been entrants in their own home market, and in most cases winners. So they know what they should be looking at, and they are looking for you to just explain what you're trying to achieve in that entry. So when you're writing that marketing statement, imagine that you're not writing it towards a consumer. You're writing it towards trying to explain to a colleague, hey, this is what my approach is, this is what we did, and this is what our solution was, and these were what our results were. Discuss things that you're going to see in the photography and the images. You know, what I'd like to say is you don't need to explain in this image, well, this is a home office and it has a desk, and we decide you really want to talk about, you know, what the proliferation of home offices. You know, we decided to take that front area that was intended to be an ante room that might have been previously a whiskey room, and we've made it a home office. We changed the dynamic of what we were approaching the interiors with. Explain why you did what you did and how successful that it was with your audience. Avoid messaging that's salesy or consumer focused. Don't get too verbose. The marketing statements are read to the judges as they're looking at the imagery. I read them to them so that it keeps them focused on being able to see what they're looking at and understanding and digesting. You'll want to make sure that you're not too verbose and you don't give too much detail that is not necessary. Here's a really good tip. If you have 8 images, write the statement to the 8 images. Lay those images out on your computer and write exactly to them. In some cases, it's been really well received to have someone say, in image 1, you're going to see the front exterior of the house, and it includes, you know, the following elements. In image 2, we walk inside the house and we find our home office. Image 3 shows our kitchen and dining room and how it functions as the heart of the home. That really helps to focus the judge's attention to what they're looking at as they're viewing the images. It also helps as though you were walking them through the plan, as though we were there together. It helps to focus their attention and help them to digest the information that they're seeing. Remember to give them the details of what worked and what didn't work. And I will always say, boilerplate statements are not good. If you have 10 entries, let's say, and you're submitting for a community, and you decide, hey, listen, I'm just going to write one statement that is going to cover all of these categories. Those don't go over very well. After they've heard it the second or third time, the judges will literally say, stop reading. I don't need to hear it. They didn't tell me anything about this logo or this brochure or this sales office. It's going to help me to qualify why it's worthy of recognition. So remember to make those statements directed towards the category in which you're submitting, and talk about what they're viewing and how it relates to the category. For branding and digital media, anything that has to do with sales and marketing, give the judges what your intention was, why you were marketing it, how you approached it, and then give them the strategy. Tell them why you did what you did, how well you researched your lists, how you worked your interest lists, if you were buying any lists, and then give them stats. Stats are very, very important. It helps them to understand, hey, listen, they really did hit the mark here. So I'll give you an example in this statement. Now, this one's very, very verbose, almost a little bit verbose, but what they did do, it was a nice job of explaining their approach. They gave us their target audience, their marketing challenge, their insights, their strategy, their results, and their key performance statistics. and it really did help. This helps a judge when we're getting down to maybe the top 3 or 5 in a category. It helps them to understand and place them and understand the dynamics of what the approach was. You know, most of the time in these categories, I always like to, my analogy is it's not apples to apples. In some cases, we'll have apples, oranges, kiwis, and bananas. And so what they can do there is they can lay them all out and understand what the approach was and how successful it was. For, again, those interiors and product design categories, make sure you walk the judges through that home, explain what you're trying to do. And again, if this is your top selling plan and it's doing very well in the market, explain why it is. Why is it selling so well? What do they love about it? Anything that you can give them as an approach. This will give you an idea of what the images look like on the screen as we're going through with the judges. The first pass through, as you can see, this is 8 images. And what they did here, this is a very savvy entrant. They arranged their photos as though we were walking through the home. We get the front exterior, walking through the home office, leading into the kitchen, the great room, showing that main living space, going to the master, and then the master bath. Now, as we go through the entries with the judges, we will go through the category 3 times. The first pass through, we'll go through every single entry in what I call this 8 up look. Okay, so it's all 8 images up at the same time. This is a first impression. This is giving them an idea of what this house looks like so that they can see what's all in the category. In some instances, you may have 5 in a category, you may have 30 in a category. They'll go through this, they'll see their first impressions, and then the second time through, we'll go through and we'll pull each one of those images up to full scale. And I will read in the marketing statement, giving them the information, and the elements that they need to hear. They'll be looking at the images on their screen, and they'll also be viewing the floor plan that's been provided to them. The judges will then review it. They'll have discussion. The architect may lead the category for product design and say, hey, let's talk about the different elements that I see in this category, in this element. The interior merchandiser might key in and talk about that in their interior merchandising categories, and the builders might weigh in. At the end of the day, they'll have this discussion, but when they finally vote on their ballot, it's their own independent thought, so they vote their heart. But they all do discuss each and every entry as they're going through. Yes. Do the photos need to be horizontal orientation? What about categories like social media and website design? Would they be more like a screenshot based? I have a question. I just want to answer that. You can have them be horizontal or vertical. It doesn't matter. They show either way, so that it's up to you on how you want to present it. For social media, website, yes, screenshots are completely okay. That'll work just fine for us. So that's not a problem at all. And if they're less than 300 DPI, those screenshots, you just want to get the best screenshot you can possibly get. For the website categories, just to mention that as we're talking about that, websites are judged on the website live. The judges are provided the URL. They go to the website, they go through them at their own pace. It's given to them as homework. And they review the website, read your marketing statement, and spend their own amount of time. I even have judges who decide that they're going to look at it on multiple platforms. So what they'll do is they'll literally go onto a website using their desktop, their iPad or device, or their phone to make sure it's mobilely optimized. So just give me a background on that. Any other questions, just let me know. Hot tip on floor plans. For floor plans for your interior design and product design categories, please submit nice, clean plans. Make sure they're not badged with names. This is a blind judging. And make sure if you pull it, you can pull it from your brochure or your online, just clean up those names and take them off. We suggest that you put them on a single page. So this is a very good sample floor plan. You can put them side by side as a PDF, and that way the judge can see it nice and easy. Again, this is helping the judge to be able to digest this content in the easiest path forward. So if you can put them side by side or provide them as a 2-page scrollable PDF, that works well as also. We also ask, they don't have to be furnished. This one just happens to be because they got it from their interior merchandiser. They don't need to be, but that helps if you have that available. But as you can see, this one actually came right from a website, and I pulled it down because they didn't have a floor plan, and I put it together for an entrant. It's not the best, but it can be done. If you talk to your architect, in some ways, sometimes they've put it together and they've put it together in a marketing space, and you can share it in content. So just ask the question, hey, have you put together a pretty floor plan that you're using? Now I will show you, this is a no. This is a very good example of a floor plan that came in. Yes, it's a floor plan. This is a construction blueprint floor plan, as you can see. So we have multiple things that the judges immediately went, oh, this is tough. One, it's blueprints. Two, we've got badging. And three, it's just very tiny. So it's very hard for them to be able to read it. So what I would say is try to get those nice, clean floor plans off your website. They're probably going to look better for you. This is what our entry system actually looks like when you're looking at it, what the judges are seeing in that 8-up view. As you can see, it's again, the 8 images, that is the sequencing. You have the ability to sequence those 8 images. You can choose. As you can see, that entry number is 43-04, and then image number 1, 2, 3, 4 through 8. Make sure that you curate those entries. Decide what you want them to see in what order, and then write that statement to how you want them to view it. Tell the story, take your time. It's okay. You have their attention. They want to hear what you did and how you approached it. Again, they're entrants just like you, so they've been in your shoes. Take the moment and take the initiative to really put your best foot forward. Going back to digital marketing, this is a sample entry. As you're going through and you're putting your entries together, if you have certain categories where you're like, hey, listen, I just really need a good track to run on, I'm doing something different, send me an email. Lisa, I am submitting for website, digital marketing, and sales office. Can you send me a sample entry? I am happy to share with you sample entries from other entries from outside your market to give you an idea of what is a good best practice. I'll share some here with you today, but again, if you have some after we get done with this meeting, feel free to email me at any time. I'm here to help. So for instance here, what you'll see in digital marketing program, they gave us some very good information in these images. One, they showed us how they displayed their digital marketing. Two, they told the story in their marketing statement of what they were trying to do and how they did it. And again, that last image, which I show in the top up there on the left, is they gave us the dynamics, the leads, the reach, and the clicks. Again, it didn't take up that much information on that page, but again, it was right there in front of the judge, so they didn't have to hunt for it, and they made it very easy for them to digest and understand what they were trying to do. Our next sample is a really good interior design entry. The only thing wrong with this is the floor plan was a little busy, but yet at the same time, I will tell you why this was so good. This is a very, very small unit. I think it was only like 800 or 600 square feet. They only had 4 images, which is completely okay. 4 strong images sometimes will do better than if you give us 6 images and some are not as good. They gave us 4 clean images. They gave us a nice clean floor plan, and then they gave us bullet points to talk to us why they did and how they did it. I will tell you, bullet points and writing to those images will help you in all cases. So this is a really good sample of an interior design entry. Next up, we have architecture. Some people will ask, can I caption the photos? What should I do about that? Yes, if you would like to, you can caption and point out anything that you'd like to show the judges. It's not necessary. You can mention it in your marketing statement as well, but it doesn't make it ineligible. Again, in this entry, they talked about the primary market. They gave us the price range, the square footage, a nice clean floor plan, and then bullet points of what they were trying to do. They ordered their photos, again, as though we were walking through the home. If you're submitting for Community of the Year, there are a number of qualifying categories that you have to submit for. I believe that they are categories that are for the sales and marketing, and then architecture and interior design. What I'd like to always say is when you're considering those categories that you're going to submit for to make yourself eligible, consider that you're building the case on why your community is so worthy of the award. Whether it was because you had an awesome lifestyle director, whether it was because you had an incredible lifestyle program, the buyer referrals, your realtor broker program, your special events, however it is, make sure you're making the case. That's what the judge wants to know. Almost as though you're crafting the case of why they would want to move there. So, and if you had an incredible sales year, tell them exactly why. Tell them how you did. Now, obviously, in the market that we're in currently, it's a little strange dynamic. But again, tell them how you found your buyers, how well they're doing, and what the success was. Submitting your materials. Now you have gathered all your materials, you have your entries in, you're ready to go, you're going to be assembling everything together. These are some of my tips on how to approach keeping everything together. What we like to say is make one folder. Inside that folder, you're going to have every one of your entries. Your entry numbers are, the first 2 digits are the category number, and the last 4 digits are the entry number. As you can see, for instance, 013913 is the rookie sales professional entry, and you go down from there. We would love if you would put all of your entries for your company inside one folder. Number all of your folders with your entry numbers, and then within those folders, as you can see there to the right, that's where you will have your materials. You'll have your team project form, your floor plan, and your images. Note the sequencing of how you name those entries. It's 30 is the entry number, followed by a dash with the 4-digit number, and then an underscore with the sequence number. It's very important. That helps us when it comes in for us to fall into our entry system. Make sure that you double check your entry numbers, that they match what you're submitting. If you're submitting multiple plans within a category, make sure you double check that your floor plans are within the right folder, and maybe have somebody look at your work, double check your work. Again, when we're doing everything digitally these days, they're little digital grains of sand. So it has happened before where we've received materials where we have plan 1's front exterior with plan 2's floor plan with plan 3's kitchen. Again, just double check your work and look through those materials before you submit them. We'll do our very best if they do come in, if we have a challenge, but again, it's just good to double check. Once you have everything together, you'll put it into your main folder, and that's what you'll share via Dropbox, Hightail, Google Drive, whichever file sharing service you feel confident. You are going to send that a link to that folder to entries@teampmp.com by May the 10th. Now, what we always like to say is don't share the folder. Do not send us your original files. What'll happen is the best case scenario is for you to share a link for us to download. I had an instance about 2 years ago where someone shared a folder to us. We pulled the materials down, and then obviously with all the materials that come in, the folder was then deleted. That entrant, those were their original files, and we had to recreate and send things back. I always like to say, just send us a link. Don't share the folder. Again, double check your work, send that link. Numbering's important, so take your time. All right, here's your hot tips. Follow the instructions. Just read them. They're written to be simple and streamlined. Don't overthink it. It really is that simple. Label materials, double check your work. Remember how those entries are reviewed by those judges. Remember, they're going to be viewing them 3 times. First pass through with that overview, second pass through the deep dive, hearing the statement read to them, and make sure you keep everything easily digestible. Tell your story. Talk about what you did, why you did it, how well it was received. Don't overthink things, follow the rules. If you have a question, pick up the phone and call me, send me an email. If you have your materials done early and you want us to review them, feel free to send them in. We'll give them a quick overview and check them out and make sure that they're okay. I highly suggest you do that before the entry deadline, because that way on entry deadline, when we get the swath of entries, it takes us a day or so to get them all together, and we do double check. If you are missing a floor plan or if we have a question, we will pick up the phone and call you. No one is ever disqualified. We are on the entrance side. We really want you to have the best chance to be recognized for your work. So if we have a question, we will answer the question. We will get back to you with that. Were the good examples of the photos and bullet points you gave for design architecture done as a single image on the form or individual photos separate? So what they like to do, sorry, I'm answering a question real quick, is for the examples of photos and bullet points, they normally will give us a photo and then, so they'll give us a photo and then they'll speak to it on the floor plan, on the statement. If you want to email me, Christina, I'll send you a couple different examples of how that works out, and we can talk more about that. Going back, proofread your statements. Matter of fact, here's what I like to say. After you've written your statements, go grab someone or whoever you have availability, read them to someone. Read them, because what will end up happening is after you read them aloud, you'll find things that you can cut or add or adjust, because that's how the judge is going to digest it. It's going to be read to them. So I always like to say there's probably some way you can streamline it. So I hope that helps. The more effort you put into your entries, the more it will show. If you wait until May the 10th to start your entries, I don't suggest that. It never turns out well. Inevitably, we will end up calling you because something's missing or there's an element that we need your help on. So that is my overview of tips and tricks. I'm open to any questions from anyone, happy to answer anything. And at all times, this is my contact information. Again, I'm Lisa Parrish. I've been doing this for 30 years. I do this every day. My very favorite thing to say is there is no stupid question. The only stupid question is the one never asked. And I love to help people. So feel free to pick up the phone, and I'll go through this with you and send you sample entries, and we'll get you guys all dialed up so that you have the best case. Videos for sales professional entrants are due on the 10th at the same time as the entry form, yes. So if you're going to be submitting someone, you would probably want to reach out to them now and say, hey, listen, Susie and Ben, I'm submitting you. I need a video. These are the 3 questions I need you to answer, and I need you to answer them in about 2.5 minutes. And you can do it multiple times. The good thing about the videos is they have the opportunity to do it and watch it and edit it, and which is a little different than when you're coming in to do the personal interviews in person, where you kind of have to, you're winging it. The judges really love those interview videos because they get to see that person speak, they get to see their aura, and they get to understand what their processes were. So I hope that helps. Any other questions? All right. Again, if you need anything from us, feel free to reach out. We're here to help. We can't wait to see you on July the 24th at the Weston Galleria to celebrate McSAM in person. We are excited about raising the bar and having one night, one industry and celebration. Thank you so very much. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you very soon. Have a good one.